The incoming team is the best possible proof of how well we have succeeded. The President and much of the Executive reflect a generational change, no mean feat in 3 years. The newly elected leadership, whilst retaining some seasoned and experienced members, will at the same time bring a fresh perspective to communal life. Jennifer Huppert has been a community activist since her oldest days, and I can speak from personal experience. I knew her when she was doing that at the age of 17, 18. Yeah. She's a highly respected lawyer. She has been a state member of Parliament and has been involved with a number of communal organisations at board level. She's enormously competent. She's actually fearsomely competent, with a depth of knowledge of our community and of the broader community, which will stand her in good stead. The community is indeed fortunate to have Jennifer Huppert as the newly elected President of the JCCV, and I wish her and the new Executive a successful and productive term of office. Ladies and gentlemen, Jennifer Huppert.
Thank you, Nina, for your kind words. Working with Nina, as Nina said, I first met Nina many years ago when Sally and I were involved in Orchards at the same time. And so that wasn't in Nina's community capacity, but as a capacity of a parent of a friend of mine. And it always struck me at the time how welcome she was of all the very many people that turned up at her house at very odd times of the day. And night, that's right. And in the 3 years that I've served on the executive and 2 years as Nina's Vice President, that nothing has changed my opinion of Nina. She's been very supportive, very encouraging, and I can't say enough about the manner in which she's filled the role over the last 3 years. From the summary of activities Nina touched on in her report, you'll get an idea of the amount of time she's devoted to the role. And this is just a snapshot of some of the activities of the organisation, largely due to the leadership shown by Nina. The JCCV, as we've heard today, is well respected in the broader community by politicians, leaders of ethnic, faith communities, and the police, to name a few. Many of you will have heard Nina in the media or speaking at public events and know how well she represents our community. However, as we've heard, in her role as President, Nina has focused on providing services to the Jewish community, both those who are formally affiliated to the JCCV and the broader community, working tirelessly to prove the organisation's relevance to the community as a whole. As others have said, these are really big shoes to fill. But I hope, with the support of the newly elected executive, to continue to work to carry out those tasks. I'm sad to see Helen Light and John Searle leave the executive after many years of service, and I thank them for the service they've given in a number of roles over that time. I'd also like to thank a number of members of the executive who have returned, who after working with us for a few years have chosen to re-nominate, so we can't be all that bad. So Rima, Anton, Atida, who can't be here tonight, Ian and Jack, thank you very much for your work over the last years, and I look forward to working again over the next 3 years. And for those new members who've nominated for the executive, Francis, Andre and Daron, I look forward to working with you over the next 3 years. Nina keeps referring to me as the younger generation, but I'm not really all that young, and I'm very glad to see a number of executive members with much less grey hair than I join us. As I mentioned before, JCCV has an impressive profile outside the Jewish community. At a time when the Jewish community, both in Victoria and worldwide, is facing the spectre of rising anti-Semitism, this is of course a very important role. Just as important is the role that JCCV can play within the Jewish community. I hope, with the support of the executive, to continue that work to provide support to our affiliates, be it in the area of professional development for leaders and staff, bringing together affiliates with similar aims, or providing training such as we've done in the area of child protection. The JCC is not a service provider, but I believe that we play an important role in identifying issues affecting our community, providing information and education, and acting as a catalyst and support for community members to engage in those issues. Recognising in doing this that our community is broad, encompassing people from many different backgrounds who express their connection to Judaism in many different ways. So I'm looking forward to a really exciting 3 years. And of course I wouldn't be able to do without the support of my community, both the example that my mother, who's here this evening, and my late father and grandparents played in providing an example of community service, and also the support of my husband Bobby, who's also here this evening, and my sons, who never begrudge the time that I spend in working with the community. So thank you again for entrusting me with this important role. Now I'd like to finish up by saying, by making a small presentation to Nina on behalf of the JCCV, thanking her for her role that she's played over the last 3 years.
Thank you very, very much. I don't know what to say. There's only, I just wish you a very happy and successful term. I'm sure that's precisely what it will be. I can only repeat my thanks to the outgoing executive, which have been wonderful. Every one of you, Ian and John and Helen and Rima and Jack, Anton and Atida and I don't know who? I'm Jennifer? Yeah. Shireen Hamber, who's always a wise and sensible voice. It's amazing. Whenever I sort of go on a tangent, she says, well, actually, no. And she gets to the substance of it. Thank you for that. And you've just all been fantastic. It's the only executive I've ever served on where after an executive meeting, nobody goes home. And you have to start clearing up around them. It's got to say something about it. But so thank you. And yeah, it's been a wonderful journey. And this will remind me of it.
So on that note,